In the heart of Jerusalem lies the Dome of the Rock, a sacred emblem of religious significance standing tall on the revered Temple Mount. However, recent events have sent shockwaves through the global community, placing this holy site at the epicenter of an unprecedented crisis. This shocking incident has not only unsettled the delicate peace in the region. Still, it has also ignited questions about its profound impact on Israel's future and the unfolding of biblical prophecies. So let's dive into this video today to uncover what just happened with the Dome of the Rock. In Jerusalem, a city cherished by Jews, Muslims, and Christians, a significant and contentious site exists: the Temple Mount. This hill holds sacred value for all three faiths. However, it has become a focal point of conflict, with both Palestinians and Israelis claiming ownership. Over the years, tensions in the region have intensified, leading to a critical point in 2022. A series of attacks by Palestinians and Israeli Arabs resulted in the tragic deaths of 17 innocent Israelis, marking the deadliest violence since 2006. The recent shocking incident occurred at the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound, part of the Dome of the Rock, during the holy month of Ramadan. Violence at Al-Aqsa Mosque compound. Some Palestinians wearing masks spent the night in the compound and started throwing stones, firecrackers, and other objects at Israeli police officers. In response, the police used tear gas, stun grenades, and batons, escalating the clash. The Palestinians retreated to the mosque, barricading themselves inside while continuing to hurl stones. The Israeli police, undeterred, stormed the compound, leading to a chaotic operation. The consequences were severe. Around 160 Palestinians were injured, including a guard who was shot in the eye with a rubber bullet. Disturbingly, among the injured were 4 women, 27 children, and 1 journalist, along with some police officers, one of whom was seriously hurt. This violence unfolded despite a prior agreement between the police and the Al-Aqsa compound authorities. Both parties had agreed that no one would stay overnight in the compound during Ramadan. The question arises: why did the Palestinians break this agreement, risking lives in the process? The Palestinians fear that if Jews gain control of the Temple Mount, they might be evicted from a place they hold sacred. This deep-rooted fear led them to challenge the agreement and engage in actions jeopardizing lives on both sides. Another question comes: is this fear really needed? Is this violence a must? Can we fix this without fighting? These are big questions. To answer them, let's figure out why this place is so special for both Jews and Muslims. It's the Temple Mount. They both really care about it. Sacred significance of Temple Mount. Long ago, like around 1000 BCE, King David, the boss of Israel, took over Jerusalem and said, "This is our main spot." He wanted to put a temple there for a super important box called the Ark of the Covenant, where they kept the 10 Commandments. He picked Mount Moriah, now called the Temple Mount, for the temple. You can read about this in the book 1 Kings. His kid Solomon took over and built this temple. It took 7 years. It was awesome, used for worshiping and offering things to the gods. But when Solomon died, things went bad. The kingdom split, and mean old Babylonians invaded, wrecked the temple, and kicked out the Jews. It was terrible for them. But the Jews didn't lose hope. They went back to fix the temple, but then it got destroyed again. This time it was the Romans in 70 CE during a big fight called the First Jewish-Roman War. Since then, no one has built the temple again. Even though most of the temple is gone, a part still stands: the Western Wall, or Wailing Wall. It's a piece of the old wall from the Second Temple. For Jews, it's super important. They pray there and feel close to their beliefs. But for Muslims, it's different. They call it Haram al-Sharif, which means noble sanctuary. It's like the third most special place for them after Mecca and Medina. They think Prophet Muhammad went to heaven from here during a special night trip called Isra and Miraj. This event is a huge deal for them. It's a sign of how close the Prophet was to God. It inspires Muslims to follow his example. They built the Dome of the Rock to remember this. Here's where the trouble starts. Both groups really want this place. They both think it's theirs and care about what happens next. For Jews, this is where they dream of building the third temple. They believe it's a big part of the arrival of their special leader, the Messiah. So who's right? Are the Muslims or the Jews the real owners of this place? It's a really hard question. There's no easy answer. But to figure it out, we need to go back in time, dig into history, and uncover all the different parts of this ongoing problem. The origin of the tension, dating back to centuries. The tension we witness today in Jerusalem has deep roots that stretch back for centuries. The genesis of this complex situation lies in the historical events that shape the destiny of this region. In the year 6114 CE, the Sasanian Empire made a significant move by invading and capturing Jerusalem. This pivotal event had a profound impact on the religious and cultural fabric of the city. Consequently, Jerusalem's ruling structures and religious practices underwent a seismic shift, setting the stage for the tensions that would unfold in the centuries to come. The Sasanian conquest left an indelible mark on Jerusalem, altering its dynamics forever. To quote the historical narrative, things were not the same anymore. Displeased with the Sasanian rule, the Byzantine Empire launched a counteroffensive in 629 CE, successfully reclaiming Jerusalem. This shift in power meant the restoration of Christian authority in the city. As the Byzantine rule took hold, the religious dynamics underwent another transformation, heightening tensions among Jerusalem's diverse communities. This period marked a turning point, and as historical accounts narrate, the religious dynamics in Jerusalem changed again, and you can bet tensions were high. In 638 CE, Jerusalem witnessed yet another shift in power as it fell under the rule of the Islamic Caliphate led by Umar II al-Khattab. This event was a game-changer as Muslim rule became firmly established in the city. The influence of Islam permeated every aspect of Jerusalem's culture, architecture, and religion. Under Muslim rule, Jerusalem thrived, emerging as a vibrant center of Islamic civilization with remarkable architectural and infrastructural developments, including the iconic Dome of the Rock. The equilibrium was disrupted in 1099 CE when the Crusaders launched a vigorous assault during the First Crusade, seizing control of Jerusalem. In a sudden turn of events, Jerusalem found itself under the dominion of Latin Christians. This shift brought significant changes, altering the city's religious and social landscape. Thus, the Crusader Kingdom of Jerusalem emerged, steering the city's narrative into uncharted territories. However, in 1187, everything changed yet again. Saladin, the Sultan of Egypt and Syria, achieved a remarkable feat by wresting control of Jerusalem from the Crusaders. This victory scripted a reversal, placing the city once more in Muslim hands. Between 1229 and 1244, the Crusaders made multiple attempts to reclaim Jerusalem. Firstly, Holy Roman Emperor Frederick II struck a deal with Ayyubid Sultan al-Kamil in 1229, briefly placing the city under Christian control. But this reign was short-lived, as the Muslims swiftly regained Jerusalem in 1244 at the Battle of La Fourbi. This back-and-forth struggle resembled a relentless tug-of-war. In a strategic move aimed at preventing further invasions, Muslim rulers decided to demolish Jerusalem's walls in 1250, deliberately weakening its defenses against the Crusaders. Their intent was crystal clear. They wanted to make sure the Crusaders couldn't just walk in again. In 1260, the Mamluks assumed control after defeating the Mongols at the Battle of Ain Jalut. Their governance left an enduring imprint on Jerusalem. Asserting their dominance, they initiated sweeping administrative reforms and ambitious architectural endeavors, molding Jerusalem to reflect their authority and influence. The year 1517 ushered in another invasion as the Ottoman Empire, led by Sultan Selim I, captured Jerusalem from the Mamluks. This conquest marked yet another chapter in the city's history. Notably, Suleiman the Magnificent, an Ottoman ruler, restored Jerusalem's walls between 1538 and 1541. His aim was to etch a lasting legacy, solidifying the Ottoman presence. However, the reign of the Ottoman Empire didn't last indefinitely. Following the conclusion of World War I, the empire collapsed, paving the way for the British Mandate to take its place in governing Jerusalem. This transition signified yet another pivotal moment in the city's intricate timeline of changing rulerships and influences. The Jewish and Arab communities in Palestine started fighting over their rights and claims. In 1948, Israel declared its independence, sparking wars that led to a split in Jerusalem. Jordan took control of East Jerusalem, which included the Old City, while Israel occupied West Jerusalem. This division made it really tough for people to visit important religious sites like the Temple Mount. Then came the Six-Day War in 1967. Israel captured East Jerusalem, including the Temple Mount. In a unique move, Israel respected the religious importance of the site. They allowed the Islamic Waqf to manage the area but kept security control. This setup added more tension as both sides insisted on their authority over the site. Till today, the context is shaped by a long history of invasions, changes, and conflicts. It's like a complicated web of events and emotions. The story of Jerusalem is still unfolding, with both sides holding on to their narratives and visions for the future. Dome of the Rock and its significance for Muslims. The Dome of the Rock is an impressive architectural gem that was crafted by the Umayyad Caliph Abd al-Malik between 685 and 691 CE. How do we know this? Well, a special inscription inside the dome spills the beans. It proudly declares the completion date as 72 AH, which corresponds to 691 to 692 CE in the Gregorian calendar. Well, the Dome of the Rock is no ordinary structure. Imagine a large elevated platform, an octagonal shape, and a golden roof that dominates the skyline. It's about 65 feet in diameter, resting on a circular drum supported by 16 piers and columns. A circular arcade with 24 piers and columns surrounds the sacred rock, partly exposed and protected by a railing. There's even a staircase leading to a natural cave beneath the rock. The outer walls of the dome are also octagonal, each measuring around 60 feet wide and 36 feet high. Windows on the dome and drum walls allow natural light to grace the interior. But the real beauty lies in the intricate details. Exquisite mosaics and metal plaques adorn both the inside and outside surfaces. Interestingly, these mosaics resemble the ones found in Byzantine public buildings and churches, but with a unique twist. No human or animal figures are depicted. The mosaics inside are not your typical pictures. They showcase Arabic script, floral patterns, and images of jewels and crowns. Adding to this, a band of Arabic religious inscriptions runs along the octagonal arcade, contributing to its unique charm. Evolution and restorations over time. The dome has seen quite a few changes over the years. Different Islamic dynasties played a part in its evolution. For instance, a wrought iron screen was put around the sacred rock during the Crusader period to keep Christian pilgrims away. The Ayyubids later replaced it with a wooden screen that still stands today. In the 16th century, the Ottoman Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent decided to swap the exterior mosaics with colorful ceramic tiles. Fast forward to the 20th century, the Hashemite royals took charge, repairing or replacing damaged ornaments and switching the gold covering of the dome with a gold aluminum alloy. But here's the intriguing part. The dome doesn't explicitly mention the event it's most connected to, the Mirage or the Prophet Muhammad's ascension to heaven. Even though some hints appeared in early sources from the 9th century, this theme gained prominence until the 11th century. This mystery adds to the allure of the Dome of the Rock. Its original purpose and meaning remain somewhat unclear, making it stand out from typical mosques and deviating from the usual layout of other Islamic religious buildings. Puzzling origins and Abrahamic ties. Now let's understand why the Dome of the Rock was built in the first place. This mystery baffles scholars and visitors alike, as the Dome of the Rock carries features that seemingly position Islam as the rightful heir of the Abrahamic tradition. On having a closer look, you'll see Arabic inscriptions on the dome affirming the oneness of God and rejecting Christian beliefs like the Trinity and Jesus' divinity. It also bears a resemblance to Byzantine religious buildings called martyria, circular or polygonal shrines honoring saints or marking significant religious events. Could it be that the Dome of the Rock was meant to rival the splendor of Christian holy sites in Jerusalem, like the domed Church of the Holy Sepulchre? Some daring claims suggest that Abd al-Malik, the Umayyad caliph who built the Dome of the Rock, aimed to replace the Kaaba. The alleged motive was to redirect the Muslim Hajj pilgrimage from Mecca, then under the control of rebels, to Jerusalem. However, modern scholars challenge this theory, highlighting biases in Abbasid sources and presenting evidence that Mecca remained the Hajj destination during the rebellion. Another theory adds a fascinating twist. It proposes that the Dome of the Rock had a deeper eschatological purpose. According to this idea, the dome was designed to symbolize the end of time and serve as a connection point between the earthly and heavenly realms. Some argue that its location, architecture, and decorations match Islamic and Byzantine beliefs about the Day of Judgment in heaven. It's like a piece of heaven on earth, they say. Jewish beliefs and evidence from the past. On the flip side, the Jews strongly believe that the Temple Mount is where the first and second temples once stood, and they've got some evidence backing this claim. Apart from what's written in their holy books, a big earthquake some years back shook things up at the Dome of the Rock, allowing archaeologists to dig into its foundations. Lo and behold, they found materials dating back to the era of the Second Temple. Even with this evidence, Muslims stand firm on their position, while Jews hold tight to their beliefs. It's a deadlock where neither side is ready to peacefully let go of what they believe is rightfully theirs. This stalemate has heightened tensions to a point where Muslims fear potential missile strikes on the Dome of the Rock by Israelis. To avoid any trouble, access for Jews to the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound, especially during their religious activities, is restricted. It's a delicate situation filled with worries. But here's the real challenge. How can a consensus be reached when both sides hold tightly to their beliefs? The fear of the unknown looms large. Jews don't want the Dome of the Rock to hinder their messianic prophecies, while Muslims are adamant about protecting what they see as sacred. In this complex situation, cooperation from both parties is crucial. However, looking at the ongoing crises, the willingness to cooperate appears to be a distant dream. Third Temple and biblical prophecy. Let's take a moment to think about something important. How will a significant biblical prophecy be fulfilled if the Third Temple isn't built? This prophecy revolves around the abomination of desolation, believed to be a crucial event leading to the return of the Messiah. The Third Temple is key in end-time prophecy, marking a significant step for the Messiah's second coming. Its construction is seen as a sign that the end times are drawing near. Conversely, its destruction or profanation is considered a sign that the Antichrist has arrived, triggering what's known as the Great Tribulation. The Great Tribulation is a tough period of severe suffering and persecution for the faithful. Some also call it the abomination of desolation. This concept is deeply rooted in the Bible, especially in the book of Daniel and the teachings of Jesus in the New Testament. In the book of Daniel, the prophet discusses a desolation in the temple. Jesus himself references this prophecy when discussing the end times. The abomination of desolation is widely interpreted as a symbol of extreme evil and devastation, signaling a major event in the theology of the end times, also known as eschatology. Further, the book of Daniel mentions the abomination of desolation and paints a picture of a troubling event. It's like setting up an idol or a disrespectful object in a sacred place, violating it and causing desolation. This event is tied to a period of intense tribulation and distress. New Testament insights. Jesus' warning. Fast forward to the New Testament, where Jesus talks about this very prophecy. He's sharing signs of the end times and advises his followers to stay alert and ready for the abomination of desolation. In simple terms, this event is a major sign that the end times are approaching. Despite all the uncertainty, many Jews hold on to hope that the third temple will indeed be rebuilt. They're taking steps to show their faith and believe that, with the grace of Elohim, the temple will rise again, fulfilling the prophecy as intended. Now, the third temple isn't just a Jewish thing. Christians believe it's where Jesus will return and become the King of Kings. On the other hand, Muslims see it as the place where the Mahdi, their awaited Redeemer, will appear to bring justice and peace. So this temple becomes a symbol of hope and salvation for all three Abrahamic religions. However, building the third temple comes with its share of conflict and controversy. Why? Because it's supposed to sit on the same site as the Dome of the Rock, a sacred Islamic shrine. This makes the question of the third temple not just about faith, but a complex mix of history, prophecy, religion, and politics. So, here we are, facing a complex and fascinating question. It's a question that holds meaning for the present and future, individuals and communities, local matters, and global affairs. This question urges us to think critically, appreciate different perspectives, and seek the truth in a world filled with diverse beliefs and visions for what lies ahead. What do you think of the events happening at Dome of the Rock? Comment below and subscribe for more.